Hi guys, SimScott185 here. We're back in the Katana DA20. If you want to fly along, it's in the Microsoft Flight Simulator list of aircraft. Around about 1,900 feet, and we're just gently cruising along in the southeast of England here, and just doing a very short video on trim. So it's something that really isn't probably talked about in any of the guides that you see within Microsoft Flight Simulator. And if you're flying one of the big jet airliners, it's kind of taken care for you by the autopilot. So thought it'd be useful just to cover this and what it's used for. Now you'll see down here between where the two pilots sit, there's a trim wheel. So you see at the moment it's neutral because it's in the middle, and that's where it should be for takeoff. Actually in the Katana, if you trim like this in takeoff, your nose actually points towards the ground quite violently if you let go of your joysticks or the control column. So you'll see at the moment I'm in trim, and that means that I'm not putting any pressures on either of these sticks. I'm not moving. You'll see if I move my joystick it moves, but I'm not. I'm managing to just about maintain height. We're sort of drifting down a little bit, but it's used by pilots basically to stop you having to sort of take a vice-like grip onto the control stick, and it allows you to do other things, because as you fly, you need to be able to write things down, you need to be able to look outside, you need to be able to talk to your passenger or your instructor, and it just takes the workload off the pilot as they're flying along. So I'm going to explain sort of how it works, and we'll do some visual demonstrations. You'll need to keep your eyes on this trim wheel down here, so my head's going to be quite down in the cockpit, sort of like this, but hopefully it will help. So we're in the cruise at the moment, and we'll show three things. So we'll show a climb, we'll show a descent, and we'll show a sort of leveling off as well, just to make sure that we cover everything off. So let's do the climb first. You see that my RPM lever's back slightly, and that's to get to my RPM of 2000 or 20, and my throttle is back as well, so it's back at 25 in terms of manifold pressure. So if we were going to go on a climb here, what we do is we'd put our RPM to 100%, and we'd also put our throttle to 100%. So let's do that now. And we're just going to climb up. Let's go to 3,000 feet. So once I'm in the climb, guys, you'll see that I've got back pressure. You can see that the stick, if I let go of it, is here, but I'm putting back pressure on it. I'm starting to get a rate of climb of about 1,000 feet, which you can see here. And what we're looking for is just visual clues. So we can use our vertical speed indicator. We can also see that our speed will drift down as we put the nose up into the air. And if I wanted to take some force off me, so if I let go, the nose is going to go down like that. Again, it's going to settle. So what we do is we've applied power, we've got the attitude right, and now we're going to trim. So if you watch the wheel, I've got this on my joystick, but you can do it on the mouse if you want. I'm going to apply some nose up trim, and now I've let go of the stick. You can see the nose is starting to settle down, but not as violently as before. So again, I'm going to get us back into that climb, and at this point I'm going to not touch the joystick. I'm just going to adjust the trim. So you see it's going backwards, and that's us nicely trimmed now. So I'm now climbing. I'm not doing anything. I'm not touching the joystick, and we're in a nice climb. So you see that by trimming, I managed to take the force off the control column. Control column? Let's call it a joystick. We're not in a Boeing, are we? So that control stick now, I'm not touching it, but I'm still climbing. And what this trim lets you do is it takes the forces off. So it operates basically a little flap at the back here, which you'll see, I think, is pretty much. Oh, it's not very good. Hold on, let me zoom out, guys, and see if I can get you a better view. See how this flap is sort of down the way? If I pull back, the whole elevator goes down like that. And what it's doing is it's basically trimming this little flap down so that it keeps the climb going and it takes forces off. So it's almost pointing down the way. We'll see if we can see it more clearly when we do a descent. What it doesn't do is it doesn't steer the aircraft, as you will have seen there. So let's level off at 3,000 feet. So again, it's the opposite when you level off. So it's now attitude. So let's get our nose down. And I'm using some visual clues out the window, but I'm also looking at my vertical speed because I want that to be 0. I want to be cruising along. So I've got my attitude. Power, again, when we come to cruise, we're going to bring back our RPM level to 20. And I'm going to bring my throttle back to about 25, as we said before. And you can see we're starting to climb again, so I'm going to put in some more force. Just keep that nose around about 0. Now if I let go, it's still trimmed to climb. So if I let go, you can see we start going to climb. So if I get us back level again, we've got our power set as we wanted to, and then I'm going to trim with nose down. So you see the trim wheels moving forward, and what you do is you gradually take off pressure off the stick, and it will start to, again, level out where you want to go. So at this point, I'm going to not touch the stick and just going to play with the trim lever, and that's us trimmed. So again, I can now look around, can have a little look over here, can look down here, start looking at navigational features. So I've got a lot of time here. I'm not fighting the airplane as I cruise along. I'm nicely trimmed, not climbing, I'm not going down, moving a bit to the right, which the Katana tends to do. But this is really useful, guys. So I can now look at my notes, I can see where we are in the leg of our journey, I can look at a stopwatch, I can talk to air traffic control, all without actually, again, these aren't moving. I'm literally not touching anything. I'm playing with my mouse at the moment to look around. But you can see, this is great. So this is how we fly. It takes a lot of pressure off the pilot. And we'll just conclude with the descent, just to show how that works as well. So again, with the descent, we're going to take our power back, we're going to get our attitude right, and then we're going to trim into that descent. So it sounds strange, but when we descend in the Katana, we actually just put the RPM up again, because at some point we want to increase our, we want all the RPM available when we come out of a descent if we're going to climb away. This could be doing a practice force landing, but what I'm going to do, so I'm going to keep that at 100%, but I'm actually going to pull the power right back. So you'll see, no, the light wasn't away, but that's my throttle is now idle. So the nose dips slightly, and you can see it's going to keep going down, and I'm now doing 2,000 feet in a bit of a dive. So I'm going to pull again back. I just want to get my pressures right, so let's try and keep going between 500 and 1,000 feet. Don't worry too much about getting right on the numbers, guys, it's just practice. So you can see my stick is back at the moment, so if I let go of my joystick, it goes forward and I go into dive. So I need to apply a bit of nose up trim, and that will get me in a nice descent. So you see, just playing with it there, at about 1,000 feet. Again, I'm not touching the control, the joystick, control stick, let's call it that. Starting to descend a bit too much, so let's put a bit more trimming. And again, you can play with this on your joystick, and you're now in a really smooth controlled descent. Hopefully that's useful, guys. So that's how we trim the aeroplane. You won't need to do it on big international airliners. I think they have automatic trim, so when you've got the autopilot in, it will trim itself. You will need to trim it though if you're not using the autopilot, I think. I'm not an expert on these things, guys. So you can see we're just doing a little controlled descent now towards the ground. So hopefully that explains some of the mysteries of this button down here. If you've never used one before, go and play with it. It makes flying a lot easier, especially if you're doing general aviation. If you don't trim the aircraft properly, what you'll find is you sort of go up and down, and you'll start sort of fighting against the aeroplane, and you'll never get it sort of properly trimmed and smoothed out. Now, in the real world, while we're flying along, probably have one hand on the stick, one on the throttle, just covering that, and we just cover the trim as well. And it might be that we just need to make subtle adjustments to it as we go along. You can see I'm getting close to the ground, guys, but I'm confident I'll finish this dialogue before we hit it. So you have it there, and you trim as you go along. It might be there's changes, you might put flaps in, but yeah, it's all pretty good fun. So have a go at that, guys. Put some questions in the comments. I've been SimScott185, and before I crash here, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and let me know if you need any advice on any other videos. Alright, thanks guys, cheers.